Hey guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Peace. Peekaboo. I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available summer 2025, the album. Dad, shimmy, shimmy, and rock on, gold dust woman. Peace. How are you guys doing today? Okay. Well, I had a couple different videos that I was going to make over here today, but then I decided, you know what? I want to enter the Michaela Nera conversation. Peter Monn has entered the chat. I want to enter the Michaela Nera conversation about what she's putting out on TikTok and talking about how the last year of her life has been personally, not professionally, but personally the worst year of her life. And people are saying that she's being manipulative, and people are saying that she's milking it for views, and that she even said that her views are skyrocketing. She doesn't know why, which I don't believe that she doesn't know why. But a lot of people are saying that she's milking it. People are speculating like crazy what's going over there. So I was like, you know what? I want to enter the chat on this conversation. And I went in right before I started this video, and one of the things I have to tell you that I do love that Michaela Nera does is when she's doing like her makeup and she still taps it. I love that. That's like OG beauty influencer stuff. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when they tap their, when they're doing like, like their eyeliner and stuff and they tap it? Oh, I love that so much from back in the day, but like nobody does that anymore. Michaela's like the only one that does that. I think that's part of the thing about Michaela, part of the appeal to people that love her is that she is kind of a renewal of the 2016, 2017 OG beauty influencers. Like she reminds me, when I watch her stuff, she reminds me of kind of how they were back then. It's interesting because I have always believed that one of the reasons why Michaela Nera has gotten super, super famous is because she is just an everyday girl like everybody else, working in the makeup store. And then she started making TikToks and she got, hold on a second, I gotta let this bake. And then she got super famous off of it. And so I've always thought that, that there was the relatability factor. But I don't think that there's really any special sauce to Michaela Nera. And really when I thought that was, I remember back in the day watching a TikTok that she did. I've actually referenced this in quite a few Michaela videos that I've done. I remember a video that she did back in the day, and in the video, she's testing lipstick eating a breakfast sandwich. And I was like, this is fucking genius. Like, this is genius that she's doing this. Because who doesn't go to work in the morning and is putting on their makeup while they're going to work, eating a breakfast sandwich from McDonald's or Hardee's, right? And so, I mean, like, that's like half of the world out there. There's probably watching Michaela's TikToks while they're in line at McDonald's, putting their makeup on in the rearview mirror. She came across very early as very relatable. Well, it's not really inventing a special sauce, because when you go back and you look at the OG beauty influencers, like, when I ask people that, like, know about makeup and stuff like that, like, who are some of the influencers that you really know? People know, like, Jeffree Star's makeup, but not many people. I'm not talking about in the world, like, who do people know as far as YouTubers? I'm talking about people that specifically know a lot about makeup. People know Jeffree Star's makeup, but they don't know a lot about Jeffree Star. Laura Lee and Manny, they'll be like, I heard of them, but like, I'm talking about like makeup artists and stuff like that, but they will say Jaclyn Hill. People always do know Jaclyn Hill, and they'll be like, oh, she's who taught me how to do makeup. I used to love to watch her get readies with me. My husband, he has like several girlfriends that I've asked through the years, and they're like, oh, I learned how to do makeup from Jaclyn Hill. Like, I loved watching her get readies with me. She was so normal. She just sit down there. Like, she really taught me how to do makeup. Well, I think that Michaela Nera has really copied the sauce from Jaclyn Hill of like, I'm so poor, I got lucky to come online, and now look, and now here I am, and whatever. What she didn't realize, okay, and she tried to do it a little bit of a different way, is that one of the biggest criticisms of Jaclyn Hill is that she sold out, okay, that she became about the Birkin purses, she became about the money, that she kind of lost sight of her audience, and that there was a distance that started to grow between her and her audience. That at first, it was like, that her audience felt like they were in it together with her, right? Like they were all growing together. Later, it was like Jaclyn would come on and she'd show a $30,000 purse. It wasn't relatable anymore to the average person that was watching it. And so her audience started getting further and further away from her. And when that happened was when people started being more critical of Jaclyn Hill. That's the part that Michaela did not learn from Jaclyn Hill, okay? It's how to keep your audience with you as you go. I actually just reached out to a friend of mine. She just texted me back. She's a friend of mine that she's not on YouTube. She's not a drama channel, nothing like that. But we were talking the other day, And she's like, I used to watch, I was asking her about the manipulation, what she thinks and stuff like that, because we've talked about Michaela before. And she said, I don't really watch Michaela anymore, but she was telling me some things that people were saying in the comment sections, speculating about what's going on with Michaela. And I said to her the other day, I said, why did you kind of like, she said, I stopped watching Michaela. I kind of like lost interest in her. And I said, well, what was it about? And then something else came up. So I texted her and I said, for a video, can you let me know why you kind of, what did she say? 2 sentences. Hold on a second. She said, you want me to record saying it or text it? I'm going to say just text it. We'll see what she has to say, because I like to know what, like, just an everyday person out there that watched Michaela, why they really stopped following her. I mean, we got into it a little bit. She just was like, it just was too much. It was too much PR. It was too much this. It just seemed like it just was overabundance of crap, that it just wasn't about the makeup reviews. It wasn't about the get readies with me anymore. That was enjoyable. She was like, she just kind of stopped being relatable to me, but there was a lot more to that. So I want to see what she has to say. She'll text us here in a second. We're going to the audience, okay? We're going to the audience and asking them. And she does watch my videos. But anyway, so, you know, I think that's part of how Michaela got famous. I do think, I mean, she has said she watched a lot of these people. We know they used to refer to Jaclyn Hill as her mentor, right? So she watched all these people before she got big, and then she started on TikTok. What saved her ass was she was one of the very first beauty influencers on TikTok. She was one of the first TikTokers that grew on TikTok. Well, when you go back and you look at the beauty influencer space on YouTube, people often wonder, like, why did this person get so big? Why did that person get so big? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it was really a lot of the people that came out first. I mean, Manny MUA and, you know, James Charles were 2 of the first beauty boys. Oh my God, my tripod fell already. But Manny and James were 2 of the first beauty boys that were doing makeup back in the day, which that really helped their relevance a lot in growing as 2 of the first beauty boys. Jeffree Star already had a following as far as his music. So when he translated that to YouTube, a lot of his following from music, people came over there, and then he put out the 3 liquid lipsticks. Well, that gave him relevance. Jeffree Star was really the very first influencer that ever put out, like, makeup. You know, it's interesting that a lot of these people come out and they talk about influencer makeup, but when you look back then, Jeffree Star was really a musician in the Warped Tour that had just gotten on YouTube when he put out the 3 liquid lipsticks. I mean, that's really how Jeffree Star, he was known for his music more than he was known for his makeup at the time that he was putting that out. And so it wasn't really like when it started, Jeffree Star Cosmetics, it really wasn't influencer makeup at first. It just wasn't. But, you know, and then other people, but I think a lot of people were so attracted to the people that were like, they started from nothing and they got famous on YouTube, and it seemed real desirable. But when you look at Jaclyn Hill, I mean, Jaclyn Hill has a long career on YouTube as a beauty influencer, you know? And so I think what Michaela did was, Michaela was watching a lot of those people. Even when I watch some of her TikToks today, I see elements of, like, James Charles or even Toddy Westbrook. I'll be like, oh, that's a Toddy Westbrookism, you know? Or things that Jaclyn Hill said back in the day. I noticed little bits and pieces of it in Michaela's video. She's watched them very, very closely and copied them. And I think it worked for her, because then she added her own kind of spin to it, you know? She added who she is. She brought her personality into it. And that was kind of, I think, what was alluring to her about people. But then I think people got interested in the world of MIKAYLA NOGUEIRA, okay? And that this story that she created about how she was, you know, working, I believe, in the Ulta store or whatever, and then she just started making TikToks and she got famous. The story of Michaela, okay, of where she came from. I mean, people have, like, for years been doing videos about her accent. Is it real? Is it fake? People from her hometown are like, I live one town over, that's not how people sound, you know, blah, blah, blah. People have done all that kind of stuff. Then she introduces her boyfriend, now husband, Cody, okay? And Cody's in videos, and she's sharing about Cody's sobriety, and she's showing her wedding videos. I mean, she's showing brand trips they're taking, and her and Cody going here, and her and Cody going there. She's doing a lot and showing a lot about her life, to the point where then people are getting interested in the life of MIKAYLA NOGUEIRA. And that's smart, okay? That's something, as somebody that watches people and, like, looks at what I don't think that they're doing smart and things like that. I think that bringing people along for the ride, I've said this for, I mean, since day one over Uncovering, you know, YouTuber drama, I think it's very smart to bring the audience along for the ride, okay, of your life, and get people interested in it. I think it's why, you know, today in 2020, this is a term that I heard when I came out. I wrote a book in 2014, and I can remember that time, there was a lot of focus on, you know, developing the life of the reader, the story, you know, of developing the life of the writer, and the life of the author, and getting people interested in the life of the author. Today we see that. Today with a lot of these authors, we're very interested in the life of the author, you know, and they're doing these major interviews and things like that. I think it's the same thing, and I think it's something that was created with back in the day with a lot of these beauty influencers is that we started getting interested in their life. When the OG beauty influencer space, when it peaked, okay, which was about the end of 2016 and let's say 6 months later, 2017, which was really when it peaked, was when we started, and I was covering it, so I remember, was when we started seeing the game nights, okay, between Jeffree Star, Manny MUA, Laura Lee, Gabriel Zamora, and then Toddy joined in later, okay? And we saw this combination. It was when we started seeing the friendship between Jeffree Star and James Charles. I mean, today, we talk about the dissension between James Charles and Jeffree Star and the competitiveness between them. They were friends for a very long time. I mean, they had a trending video where they were burning their makeup in the driveway. I mean, Jeffree Star and James Charles were friends for a very long time before they fell out. These friendships, the relationships, Jeffree Star doing videos with Nathan Schwandt, his boyfriend, really boosted his views through the roof. People were very, very interested in the life of Jeffree Star and Nathan Schwandt as a couple. And I think that's where other people gained relevancy too, because they started showing more and more of their personal lives. People were interested in the personal lives of these influencers. But there's a certain amount of gatekeeping that goes on with like, what am I going to share with you? What am I not going to share with you? And this is where I feel very split about this, okay? This is where I kind of feel very split about this. And I'll be honest with you, like I watched a lot of this stuff go on, but I don't really know where I stand with it. Hold on just a second. She texted me back. She said, yeah, give me a few. Okay, well, hopefully by the end of the video. If not, we'll do another Michaela video. So Michaela, let's go back and talk about what happened. So around Christmas time, okay, before Christmas, Michaela started coming out with these TikToks. And in the TikToks, she was talking about how she just hoped that she could have a good Christmas because professionally the last year of her life had been really, really good. But personally, the last year of her life had been total shit. It had been like the worst year of her life ever. And there was a lot of personal shit, and she made it very clear. She said it's nothing online, it's nothing professionally that's going on, it's all personal stuff. But she didn't say what it was, okay? And I'm not necessarily saying that she has to say what it is, okay? I don't think that that's my place to tell somebody what they need to share or not share on videos. But it's interesting to me how she handled this whole thing. So she came out and she said that. Well, people started speculating what it was, okay? People started speculating and they said, well, were her and Cody getting divorced? This is why, in all honesty, I sat on this video and didn't want to do it, because the things that people were speculating about are things that I'm not going to speculate about and I don't even really want to get into in this video. But people were speculating. This is the problem with putting a statement out there like that. Like saying, like, I'm going through a lot of shit, but I can't really tell you guys what it is, okay? For your audience that has bought the shit that you have pushed, has bought into you, has given you the life that they have, they are invested in your life. Okay? So when you keep them at arm's distance, all of a sudden what you're saying to them is, I care enough about you to share a little bit with you, but I'm not sharing everything with you. As a person, okay, that I have a daily vlog where I vlog for an hour to 2 hours, every hour and a half every single day, okay? I overshare, and I know I do. I'm fully aware of it. I share a lot. There are even things, I mean, people make jokes about it. They're like, he shares everything. What does he possibly keep online? I have friends of mine that are sober friends of mine that do not ever want to be known on recovery. I mean, friends of mine that are as good of friends of mine as my best friend. I have two friends of mine that are probably equally as good of friends of mine as my best friend, Tanya Jean. And they have just like, they've never, I mean, I ask people in my life, do you care if I like show you? Do you care if I mention you? Blah, 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 whatever. They do not want any, they don't want to be anywhere known online whatsoever. And so, unlike my cousin Caroline, my husband, they're just like, yeah, I don't really care. Like, we'll be on video. We'll talk. My cousin Caroline is like, share whatever you want to share. Share whatever you want to share about my life. I don't care. But there's, two people in my life that I've like never, like, I reference stories about them and I'll say my sober friend, but I don't like ever, because I've been sober since December 17th of 1994. Just celebrate 30 years sober. That is important because I want to talk about Cody here in a second. So, I mean, I keep them, like, I don't really talk much about them. There's been and then the other thing is that if things happen to people in my life, okay, like if I have, like, if one of them, if something happens, like if something would happen to their partner or if they had a medical issue or whatever, I'm not going to get on video and share specifically what that's about because I haven't really talked about them at all anyway. Not to mention that if it doesn't directly happen to me, it's not necessarily my story to tell, okay? That doesn't mean that I'm not affected by it. That doesn't mean that I'm not, hurt by it or whatever. There are a lot of things that happen throughout my day on a regular basis that just rattle me. And I don't really, like, know how to get on video and, to be honest with you, how to flip a fan, But I am also a believer that we get to sit here on video. This is a privilege, okay? It is a privilege to sit on video. I get to work from home, For those of you, I'm sure the majority of you know, I was in a tragic fatal car accident in 2022, okay? The fact that I got to come back on YouTube and make videos, and then I get to work from home and make an income off of what I do is like such an honor and such a privilege. Not on top of that, the support that I have received from you guys, you know, and then later had pancreatitis. Just recently, we had 3 dogs. All 3 of them have passed. Just recently, Boo Radley passed away. You know, I received so much support from the people online, and that's partly because, you know, you guys relate to what I've shared and stuff like that, and so you guys will share stories with me. The vulnerability that I have received from the people that watch my videos, and no, I'm not on the level of Michaela Nogera at all, okay? But the vulnerability that I have received from people sharing stories just out of generosity of wanting to help me is overwhelming. It is so cool. It's the coolest thing that I never expected when I started on YouTube, right? But this is a privilege, what we do, okay? It's a privilege to sit on camera. And so to say, I'm going to share some stuff with you, but not others, it's not about, like, me trying to protect people that don't want to be on camera, or it's not my story to tell, right? There becomes a point when it's like, I'm going to share everything I want to share with you that's beneficial to me, but I'm not going to share tough shit that I'm going through because that, like, it's really not your place to know it. She even says in this video that she just came out, and I was actually going to show it to you guys, but it's like one of her most recent videos, and she said, if you don't want to watch this, then you don't have to watch it. And I'm like, you know what? That's a statement that people make when they're getting a shit ton of views, okay? Manny MUA used to say that shit. He'd say, if you don't want to fucking watch, don't fucking watch. You know when he stopped saying that? After the cancellation. He don't say that no more, okay? Hell, he hasn't posted a video in over a month. But people don't say that when they're getting 1,000 views a video. People, when they're getting 1,000 views a video, do not say, don't fucking watch if you don't want to fucking watch. And if they do, I love them for it, okay? That's something that you get the privilege of saying when you are getting skyrocketing views, as she says herself, okay? You know, she says some things in her TikToks that I do relate to. She says, you know, there is no comparison of sadness, that all sadness doesn't look the same. You know, I agree with that. You know, it's the same thing with grief. I believe that just because, like, I'm grieving for my dog, having lost my dog, okay, which has profoundly impacted my life, doesn't mean that me grieving my dog over here takes away any more or any less from you grieving whoever or whatever in your life, okay? It's not a competition. Grief is not a competition, you know? Nobody wins in the discussion of loss. There is no competition when it comes to mental health, when it comes to sadness, when it comes to any of this kind of stuff. There's no competition. But what I don't understand is, and this is the thing, right? When people are saying that she's like, you know, she's milking this, she's stringing people along, she's feeding it out there. She's now made about 8 to 10 TikToks where she's referencing it, okay? And what she says is, the worst year of my life, I'm really going through it right now, blah, 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 whatever. What she's doing is, she's getting people to speculate about it in the comment sections of her TikTok. She's getting the discussion started so that people are coming over there to her TikTok to see, is she going to say it in the next TikTok? That's why people think that she's milking it for views, okay? Because she's not coming out and just saying, okay? Like, I just watched, like, Dustin Daly and Nick Snyder's video about, I just briefly watched it, and they were saying in there, I think it was Nick that said, she could easily come out and say, it's not my marriage to Cody, okay? This is where you get, like, okay, the term parasocial relationship has such a negative connotation, but, like, to some degree, these influencers depend on it, right? Like, if it weren't for those relationships that their viewers have with them, then they wouldn't be able to sell them the shit that they're selling them. And let's just be for real, okay? If nobody's watching Michaela's TikToks and nobody's invested in her life, and nobody's buying the products that she's getting sponsored, she isn't going to be doing TikTok and getting sponsorships anymore. I went over and looked at her YouTube, okay? I hope to God TikTok does not close down for Michaela Nogera, because her TikToks over on YouTube, she tries to put shorts up over there. They don't get the kind of views that she gets on TikTok. They get like 20, 30,000 views, okay, her shorts, which is not good for YouTube. So her career is not going to translate well over to YouTube, okay? But it's interesting to me because, like, I was watching this conversation between Dustin and Nick, and in the conversation they said, you know, like, she could easily come out and say, nobody's died, okay? Cody did not relapse. This is because Cody, her husband, is sober. It's not about our marriage. She could come out and say what it's not. Like, that is one thing that she could do. And I do agree with that, right? Like, I do agree with that. I've had that stance for a long time. I think that you have to kind of let your audience know so they don't worry about you, what's going on with you, you know? And I mean, that's something that's always been important for me, you know, to do, is to, like, when I could, let my audience know. And I don't have anywhere near the audience that Michaela is, but I don't want people worrying about me. People that invested time and energy and sent me messages and comment on my videos. I don't want people worrying about what's going on with me at all, you know? And so then it makes me question, well, what is going on with her? Because this is the thing, right? Michaela's not stupid. So when she sits there on the video and she says, on the TikTok that I watched, and she says, I don't know why my views are skyrocketing. The fuck you do not know why your views are skyrocketing, okay? Your views are skyrocketing because you did one TikTok. And I don't know that maybe in the first TikTok, it just kind of flew off. And then she didn't want to post it. You know, a lot of times you'll, like, film a video and then you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't post it. The other day, so like I said, I vlog every single day. I'm going through, like, extreme anxiety right now, okay? Situational anxiety related to combined grief over multiple issues that I'm in therapy for, that I see a therapist regularly for, okay? And doctors and things like that. I've been talking about it at length on my vlog. I've been sharing about how every single day that I wake up, okay, I feel like I'm coming out of my skin. And I hold up my hand, and my hand is not shaking, but it feels like I'm shaking like this from my head to my toes, okay? For like a half an hour to 2 hours when I first wake up. And I went and saw the doctor, okay? And that, I mean, all this kind of stuff, I've shared a lot about that because that's what I'm going through right now, you know? And if anybody speculated that, like, my marriage was ending or whatever, I would get on video immediately and be like, we are good, okay? It's interesting because I was watching Watch What Happens Live last night, and they had Whitney Rose from Salt Lake City on there, and Andy Cohen asked her, he said, well, there's a lot of rumors about you and your husband Justin are breaking up. And she goes, every time I have conflict with a certain person on the show, that rumor always comes out. And Dorinda Medley's on there as well. And she goes, oh, I want a Justin in my life. And Whitney makes a joke. And she goes, well, if Justin and I ever break up, then I'll send him your way or something like that. And she goes, and Justin's in the audience. Her husband Justin's in the audience. And she's like, we're good. She's like, we are good. If we were not good, I would come out and say it. Okay. And that's the thing, right? That's the authenticity that I think is missing from YouTube and TikTok, that I think is going to make a return. I said this not too long ago, that we're going to see a return to authenticity and genuine ass people on YouTube. And I think that long form content is going to come back. And I don't know that MIKAYLA Nogueira is somebody that can do long form content, you know? I know maybe the thing that's going on behind the scenes is that she's getting, like, you know, the FTC's coming after her because she don't disclose appropriately. Fuck, I don't know. She won't say. So what that does is it leaves her audience to speculate. So then her audience is speculating about things like, you know, like, is it her marriage? Is her marriage on the rocks? Okay. Is it her husband Cody? Because she's come out and done TikToks with her husband Cody and talked about his sobriety. It just makes sense, okay? If tomorrow I disappeared for 2 months off of YouTube, you think people wouldn't speculate that maybe I relapsed? Where the fuck did I go? I have talked about my sobriety a lot on my channels, okay? If I disappeared for 2 months and nobody knew where I was, people would speculate about that, and rightfully so. I don't even think it's that unfair for her audience. I don't think it's, I'm not going to as a person that's sober, but I can understand why her audience would wonder. You know, people are speculating it's about this. People are speculating it's about health issues. It's about family members or whatever, okay? She doesn't have to come out and say what it is, but she could come out and say what it's not. And this is why I do feel like, I don't know that I necessarily feel like she's milking it for views, but this is what I think. I think she may have put out, like, this is what I was saying before, the first TikTok. And she may have been like, I shared more than I wanted to share on there. Maybe I said a little bit too much. Maybe you know, the last year was bad, but it wasn't that bad, you know? But she posted that TikTok and it went viral, okay? And a lot of people heard what she had to say in there. And she said in there, the last year of my life, I'm having a hard time. The last year of my life was not good, okay? We don't know that it was in drafts and then she decided to post it. You know, maybe she was hesitant about posting it and she posted it. And it got a lot of people talking. And what she realized was, oh, me talking about this is getting people interested. I do not this woman is calculated from day one. She has been so calculated since she entered TikTok, okay? She's calculated with her moves. She's calculated with her lack of accountability. She's calculated with what she addresses and what she won't address. She's calculated with, like, the whole Lashgate situation she was calculated with. And then coming back, this is a good example, right? Lashgate happens, she comes back, her video is a Valentine's Day video, and she goes, let's address the elephant in the room, which everybody's hanging on her, and she pauses. Go back and watch the TikTok. I covered it. She pauses, and she goes, let's address the elephant in the room. Everybody thinks she's going to talk about Lashgate. Oh, no, she goes into Valentine's Day, okay? And that's why everybody came out and said she's an unbothered queen. Well, you either are an unbothered queen, or you aren't an unbothered queen, okay? Because you prided yourself on being this unbothered queen, but I saw a TikTok where you were calling out drama channels, okay, back in the day, and I saw the comments. People were telling that drama channel to unalive them. It was Rich Lux, okay? She straight up called Rich Lux out in TikTok, you know, call him piece of shit. I mean, mass amounts of people went to his videos. Back in the day, and Rich Lux makes a lot of videos about MIKAYLA Nogueira, okay? I understand that. But what I didn't understand about that is, I see people that are getting quadruples, 10 times more views than Rich Lux, calling out MIKAYLA Nogueira. I mean, and she ain't calling them out. I mean, back in the day, we would have called that mom mentality, okay? We would have called that mom mentality. In fact, drama channels were accused of mom mentality back in the day for sending people to other people to get. We never did that. But MIKAYLA Nogueira gets away with it completely, right? You know, she calls all her entire mass of people out on a smaller channel that's calling her out. Calling her out on what? Calling her out on her bullshit of what she's doing? That she don't take accountability? That she don't address things? Whatever? That for me was like, she is so calculated in what she's doing. She did not just sit in that TikTok. I watched that TikTok. I watched it a couple times where she's like, I'm talking to you, Rich Lux, you piece of shit. I watched that. I was like, she knew she was going to say that before she sat down and filmed that TikTok. MIKAYLA Nogueira, she is brilliantly smart, okay? She knows what she's doing. She absolutely 100% knows what she's doing. And she's playing to the views. So when she gets into TikTok and she says, I have no idea why my views are skyrocketing, that's bullshit. I don't believe that, okay? But what I don't understand why she doesn't come out and say is, she keeps on saying all this stuff, and now she's turning it into this mental health thing. Okay, so I take a bit of an issue with that, all right? As a person that suffers from multiple diagnoses of mental health issues, as a person that's also sober, okay, I take kind of issue with that. I take the issue that she's throwing out the words mental health here, mental health there. She's like, my mental health is really bad, blah, 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 whatever. I know that mental health is kind of a catchphrase term. I get that, right? But I don't, and I've watched several of her TikToks, so if I've missed it, I apologize, MIKAYLA, okay, if I've missed it. But I haven't heard MIKAYLA talk about scheduling an appointment with a therapist, talking about how she's going to address her mental health. Don't worry about me, I'm going to get therapist. I mean, she has more money than God, we know that, right? Okay, I mean, she had the most fantastic wedding, she takes all these trips, she has all these bags, whatever, okay? I think she can afford therapy, okay? So, has she said that in a TikTok? Did I miss that? Where she said, I don't want my audience to worry about me, you guys, she said that. She's like, I mean, I did hear her say that, where it's like, this is tough, but we'll get through it. But has she said in there, I mean, one of the criticisms that she's getting is, she posted this video where she's like, I can't even get out of bed, and so I DoorDash this food. And so she's got all this McDonald's that she's showing in bed, and people are like, but you set up your ring light and your camera to film it, okay? Now, this is where I differ. Well, let me get to the mental health thing, first of all. If you're going to bring your audience along with you for the ride, okay, I almost kind of hope that, like, I hope that people hear this as me not being really hardcore and critical to MIKAYLA, and I know that MIKAYLA's probably not ever, I don't think I've ever been on her radar, but I hope that, like, MIKAYLA, if you are, for some reason, watching this video, maybe just listen to this part, okay? Be concerned about your audience as much as they are concerned about you. And, you know, to even just come out and say, you guys, I've talked a lot about what's going on with me in the last year. I'm not comfortable coming out and talking about it, okay? It's not my marriage. It's not this. You know, you can say what it's not. I think maybe one of the reasons why she's afraid to say what it is, like, this is what I think it is. I do think something has happened in her life, okay? And I do think it's pretty serious. I mean, part of me was wondering, like, is she calling out drama channels because she's going to be like, see, I came out and I said I was going through some shit, and then all these drama channels came for me, and they said I was bullshitting, and no, it's not bullshit. I really am going through some stuff, okay? You know, and I'm not going to speculate about what that is. Then she can go, see, the drama channels are as horrible pieces of shit as I've said they are for years. They come for me, they come for me, they come for me, okay? Well, I mean, drama channels, I mean, I'm not making videos today about Nicole Guerrero because she hasn't done anything today, you know what I mean? So, we make videos about what's put out there. I mean, it's the same as, like, low-level, you know, e-news kind of shit. It's no different than that. It's just a different level. And there's TikTokers that are getting millions more views than us, but I will say this, you could come out and say, like, I know I've gotten a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people speculating about it, blah, blah. She kind of addressed this last thing, but she didn't say this. I am going to go seek some mental health treatment. I don't want people to worry about me. You know, like, I mean, she's sitting in a bed eating so much food talking about her mental health, okay? You think people aren't going to be concerned about that? If I filmed a video tomorrow, I've talked about my anxiety. I've talked about my dog passing away. I've talked about combined grief. I've talked about how much I've struggled since the accident, and just like it's been eating me alive in my head every single day, and the remorse that I have over that, and on and on, and having done, and I've talked about in therapy that I have been, you know, doing trauma narratives and working with my sponsor in recovery. Do you think if tomorrow I posted a video sitting in bed, okay, eating food out of a fast food bag, and I said, I can't even get out of bed to film today, you think that my audience wouldn't be fucking worried about me? They would. And rightfully so. They have a right to, because I brought them into my life, okay? And your audience does too. So when you get on video and you say you don't have to fucking watch, you're saying that to your biggest lover out there, which is why she says you're not a hater, you're a fan. She says that in her TikTok. You're right, Michaela. Anybody's biggest hater out there is really their biggest fan because they watch every move they make, okay? I totally 100% agree with you on that. But then why are you treating your biggest lover, your biggest fan that way? Why are you telling your biggest fan you don't have to fucking watch me? You would tell your friend that? You would speak to your friend that way? I don't understand that. The thing is that she is so smart that I'm kind of wondering if she's not coming out and saying what it isn't. Because if she comes out and says what it isn't, because I do agree with like what Nick and Dustin and other people have said that she could come out and do that. But if she comes out and says what it isn't, okay, well then it narrowed down what it could be. And that's why she doesn't want to come out with it. I do think something happened in Michaela Nogueira's life. I do. And whatever it is, I feel bad for her, okay? Because I'll tell you this right now. To go through some shit... Like, this is the double-edged sword, okay, of having your life online. You never know, like, what to share and what not to share. You never know, whatever. It's like Zachary Michael that does, like, Foodie Beauty, Amberlynn Reed content, things like that, is one of my good friends. And, you know, he had gone through this breakup recently, and I knew that he had. And he was going to put this video out because he had to talk about his breakup. And I felt devastated for him because he hadn't really shared a lot about his relationship online and stuff like that. And I watched that video of his, and I thought it was so eloquently done. And he said, I'm going through this really hard time, but this is also my job. Like, I got to pay my bills, right? And he's like, so I got to film videos. I lived for his honesty in that video, right? That's the thing that Michaela could say, okay? She could say, I'm going through a really fucking hard time and I'd like to take a trip for 4 months and just eat fast food in bed all day long, but I got sponsorships that I have to do that I got paid for already. So I have to get these videos up, okay? But she's afraid of losing her audience because one thing she has never been is genuine with her audience, okay? About taking accountability or whatever. So now she's at the split position where she can't come out and be completely honest about what's going on and say, I just don't feel like fucking filming today, right? Like, there are days, and I've talked about this on my vlog, okay? When I'm going through it, I can make a video, like I can sit on my vlog all day long and talk. Flip a fan, put on some lip gloss, kiki it up. Oh baby, I'm not in the mood for that. I can't do it, okay? There's some days I just can't. I'm just not feeling it, right? I think that's very real. I think that's where she could get real with her audience and just be like, and she said in there, I will eventually probably come out and share with you guys what's going on. So we know it's coming. So that's what keeps people coming. I think the problem is, she knows she's getting views off of this, and so she keeps on talking about it because it's what's going on in her life. I'm trying to think about it from the point of Michaela Nogueira, okay? I think that it is getting her views, and I think that that looks to people like she's milking it. But Michaela Nogueira gets views whether she's talking about shit or she's not, okay? I think that she's like, if I don't talk about it, people will think I'm okay. I have lived this, okay? I have literally lived this, where if you don't say, like, I'm not okay, then people will just assume you're back to normal. And if you address it, then people speculate more about what's going on. So it's like, what do you say? You don't know what to say. I always just say, go with the truth, okay? Just share what's going on with you, okay? Ain't nobody gonna hate you for it. But maybe it's not just her story to tell. Maybe there's other people involved in that as well. And I get that, okay? As somebody that is very protective of people in my life and what I talk about online and them being online, things like that, like that is something that I understand her concern about, right? And I do think that she has a right to share what she wants to share and what she doesn't want to share. But I think at this point, it's like you've got all these people talking about it and people are speculating about it. I think at this point, either share what your plan is for moving forward so your audience doesn't continue to worry about it and say, hey, listen, okay? Like, I am struggling right now and things are not great in my personal life and I will eventually come out and share them with you. I don't even really know what words to put to them. I don't even really know how to do it. But I don't want you guys to worry about me. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to make a therapy appointment. I'm going to go check in with some friends of mine. I'm going to take a trip for a week. I'm going to take care of myself and do some self-care. Hell, I've even talked to my videos about how I don't even know how to do self-care. That I can preach it to 100 other people, but I don't know what it is when it comes to me. I've said that in my vlogs. I've literally said, I don't know what self-care looks like, okay? I can tell everybody else in the world how to do it, but when it comes to me, I have no fucking clue what it looks like. Okay, she could share that on there. Nothing that I'm talking about is sharing with you. When I'm talking about my anxiety, I'm not sharing you with specific instances of what it comes from. There are things in my life that the anxiety has precipitated from that I've never shared and never shared on video. There's a lot that I have shared, but there are things that I've never shared that it's precipitated from, okay? You know, she doesn't have to share everything, but she could bring her audience along for the journey so that they don't worry about her, you know? Or that she could keep them up to date. To just continue to get in video after video after video and say, I'm not doing great today, I'm not doing great today, is getting people worried, okay? Now, let me just give you an example of this. I've been talking a lot about my anxiety lately. When I went to go see my doctor said to me that it was situational anxiety. He didn't want to put me on medicine yet. He was like, if it doesn't change, we'll look at putting you on medicine, okay? Like some low-grade anti-anxiety medication. But he didn't want to do it just yet. And so when we were talking about it, you know, he said to me, we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks. I think he said 3 to 4 weeks or 2 to 3 months is what he said originally. And I was like, well, that's kind of a weird time span, right? So right now we're like 5 to 6 weeks out, okay? Every day on my vlog, I've been giving updates. Like, there were 2 days where I woke up, I didn't feel shaky at all. I felt completely great, okay? Then I woke up, and the next day I was shaky. Yesterday I was shaky. Today I was a little shaky when I woke up, but I'm getting better. Each day is getting a little bit better, but I had 2 great days in there, okay? I don't know what it's about. One of the funkiest things about anxiety because I've never struggled with anxiety my entire life. One of the funkiest things that they don't tell you about anxiety and you don't get until you have it is that it just happens physically to you. You feel this weird feeling going on with you, and it may not be from anything that just happened, because the number one question people ask you with anxiety is, well, what is going on in your life that's setting it off? And you're like, I don't fucking know. Like 1,000,001 things or nothing. I don't even know. Nothing's going on with me. So it's so hard to communicate, right? But one of the reasons why I continue to update people on my vlog is because I don't want people to worry about me. You know, I don't want people to worry about me. And I think that when you have such a privileged position like Michaela does, I think that I do feel like you have an obligation to inform your audience a little bit of where the camera stopped. I do think that you have an obligation to inform your audience a little bit of where you're at, okay? Not to necessarily, I don't think you have to come out and say every detail of what's going on with you. You don't have to say, well, it's this, or it's that, or everybody, hey, the big reveal, let me tell you what it is, right? Because that's just what everybody's kind of waiting for, is like what it really is. And this is the thing when you're on the other side of that, you know, is that when you're going through stuff that's really hard in your life, and it's really personal, and to other people, that seems to be tea, it kind of changes your perspective on how you've looked at things. You know, through my career of doing drama on YouTube, there's been like a lot of situations, like I would never, okay? I would never, like, I think this is so disgusting that, like, I just would never, like, I can remember, like, having a drama video planned on, like, a certain day about somebody, and then they would have a pet pass away. And then I would be like, well, I'm not making that video for a couple days. You know, give that person some grace. They just lost a pet. You know, or they're going through this horrible event in their life, right? Like, I do think, just because they're social media, she's a social media influencer or whatever, I don't consider myself that. But even though she is, okay, that doesn't make her any less of a human being. But she also has an audience that has given her the life that she has, okay? I feel very blessed for the audience that I have. I feel like, has my friend texted me back? She didn't even text me back her Michaela statement yet. Well, that'll have to be another video. I feel very blessed for the audience that I have, okay? That I get to get up every single day and do something that I absolutely love. I feel blessed for that. And that's because you guys watch my videos, right? And it's not like I have any kind of following like Michaela. Michaela's audience has given her the platform that she has. It's given her the life that she has, the home that she has. It's given her everything that she has in her life. The travel, the bags, the ability to work when she wants to or not work, Cody work when he wants to or not work. It's given them the ability to have the life they have, okay? Well, there is a certain obligation that comes along with that, and part of that is, I believe, not making your audience worry, okay? And I've always felt like that since day one. There are ways for her to handle this, and I do believe that Michaela Nogera, unlike a lot of these people, I do think she has a PR team, okay? There is a way for her to address this. If she doesn't want, I mean, she says in there, like, I don't know why my views are skyrocketing. Bullshit, you don't, okay? You have followed your trends, you have followed other people's trends, you have followed what is doing very well on TikTok. You know why your views are skyrocketing. Your views are skyrocketing because you continue to hint at personal shit that's going on in your life. People are invested in your personal life, but you don't share what it is. So people keep on coming back and watching each and every one of your TikToks because they think, is this the TikTok where she's going to reveal it? And you know that, okay? So that's where people are questioning how much of this is bullshit, okay? And then you continue to bring it up, but you don't say really what it is, and so people say you're milking it for views. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, okay? I think that she continues to bring it up because it appears that she's milking it for views, okay? But she's just making TikToks like it's not like she wouldn't be making TikToks anyway. She's making the same TikTok she was making. She's doing get readies with me and stuff like that. But through each one of them, she's kind of saying to people, I'm still not doing okay. That's where people think that she's milking it. I see it from a different point of view. I think that Michaela doesn't know how to address it. I think that's where she's stuck. I think Michaela has been very sure of almost every move she's ever made on TikTok since she started, and she knew how to get to the top. And I think this is the first time in her life where she's like, I don't know what to do. And I do think it's something big. And I think when it comes out, I think she is going to have to sit down and talk about whatever it is. And I feel for her on that. I feel for it. Those are fucking hard videos to make. When you have to share authentically about what you're going through, that's some really hard shit. And she says she will come out and address it when it's time. And I know that she will. I don't know. I think at this point, if I were to give her some suggestion, what I would say is, okay, you guys, you know, I know I've talked a lot about it. I mean, she's now to the point where she's telling people don't fucking watch my TikToks, okay? Which she's done before, but it's like, whatever. I mean, she can say what she wants to say. I know that's kind of part of her shtick, but I just don't think that's, I don't know. Anyway, I mean, it's not like when I say to people, get fucked in a video. It's like, obviously people know that I'm joking about that, okay? I mean, she's literally telling people, you don't have to watch my fucking TikToks, you know? And I always tell people, why would you tell your audience not to watch her videos? Like, I don't get that, right? But if I were her, like, if she came to me and said, what do you think I would do? I'd say, I would sit down, I wouldn't be doing no makeup, and I'd sit down in a chair, and I'd say, okay, listen. And I wouldn't make it long. And I'd say, I know a lot of people are worried about me. People think I'm milking this for views. People think, I don't know how to talk about it, and I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but some real shit has gone down in my life, okay? And I'm not going to continue to say, you know, people are going to speculate, When I'm ready to come out and talk about it, I'll ready to come out and talk about it. You can't tell somebody when it's their time to talk about their issues. She has every right to come out and talk about it when she wants to, okay? But for her to come out and say, when I'm ready to come out and talk about it, and I'm prepared to do that, I will. And maybe it doesn't just involve her, you know? And she can say that. She'll say, but in the meantime, I do not want anybody to worry about me. I'm going to continue to post TikToks when I feel like it. I'm going to continue to, if I'm having a tough day, I'll get on TikTok and I'll just say to you guys, I'm having a tough day today, okay? And today I want to talk about what it looks like having a tough day for me. But then also share what your plan is in there. That you're either going to go see a therapist or you're going to do something, okay? For some self-care, or maybe talk about that so you don't just have your audience worried about you. Worry led to speculation, leads to people thinking that they're being critical of you. That's what's going on. And then after that, maybe say, you know what? I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. My audience knows, I can tell you, how I'm dealing with shit in my life. Because I talk about it regularly in my vlog. And I'm not saying that everybody has to do it. That's just how Peter Monn does it, okay? And like I said, I overshare way too much shit, and I know that, okay? But for me, I think it's a couple different things going on. I don't think she got on TikTok. I think it's too simple of an answer for it to look like she got on TikTok and she just decided, one day I'm going to come on here and I'm going to say, last year was the worst year of my life, and then it's going to get 1 million views, and I'm going to milk the shit out of it for views. I don't believe that that's what happened. I think she filmed this TikTok, and I think she was just fucking having a day. That's what I think. I've had those days before, okay? Where she got on TikTok, and she just started saying some shit, and she didn't stop recording. And I think she got done with her look, and she got done with that TikTok, and she thought, fuck, do I post it? Do I not post it? I don't have anything else to post today. But this is a little bit too real, and I don't know. And I think she posted it, you know? Years ago, somebody told me the one video you don't want to post is the one that you should post. And she posted it. And a lot of people started talking about it. A lot of people speculated. And then I think maybe part of it was and I'm just trying to think about this from a person that's gone through a lot of shit and lived it online, okay? And then I think she thought, well, now this is my opportunity to be real with people. I can share, like, I'm going through some shit online, okay? That's real for me. That she says in her video, just because you're a rich person doesn't mean that everything in your life is, you know, perfect. I'm not rich. I don't know, okay? I'm glad that she can define herself as a rich person. But that you don't have troubles in your life. That's probably true. I've known rich people that are miserable, and I've known poor people that are the happiest people I've ever known. So I do agree with what she's saying there. And I don't think that there's any competition for sadness, like I said. And I don't think that she has to share everything that's going on. I think what happened then was that she started feeling comfortable with sharing what's going on in her life, okay? And then what happened was she did it in a couple TikToks, and then people like started, like I was talking about my dog every single day in videos, okay, on my vlog. And then I even said on my vlog, okay, this is where you get authentic, right? This is where you just get real with your fucking audience. I said, I am sure that everybody is so tired of me coming over here and doing fucking updates about about what is going on with my sick dog. And people are like, no, Peter, share as much as you want to share about it. When he passed away, I said, I'm sure people are so tired of Peter's grief update on a daily basis. But that's what I felt like I needed to do. But at least I was like being real with my audience about, like, I'm sure you guys are viewing it this way, okay? So I think that she thought, I don't know, like, maybe I can start sharing some shit. Well, then it turned into her looking at like she was milking it. And the thing is, this is the problem, okay? Michaela has milked shit for views in the past, okay? She hasn't taken accountability. She has been dishonest. Now, do y'all remember for the last 5 years when I've been talking about Michaela Nogueira, and I've said that at one point, it was gonna bite her in the ass? This might be her bite her in the ass moment, okay? This might be the point where all of her lies and everything has caught up with her, because now, okay, she really does. She's a girl that cried wolf. She really does have some real shit going on in her life, but everybody's comparing it to what she did before. Everybody's comparing it to, well, you lied about this, you milked this for views, you never came out and addressed this, or are you just leading us along? Like, what is it, okay? And this is the thing. When she finally does come out and talk about it, it'll be even more speculation. People want to, should have just probably come out and just said what it was from the get-go. But maybe it doesn't have just to do with her. So maybe she can't. You know, I mean, maybe she's got like a family member that's sick, and so she can't talk about that because maybe it's not her story to share. And I totally understand that. I totally get that. You know, I had a friend of mine that I never talk on camera about that went through I mean, literally, you talk about the worst year of their life. They literally went through the worst year of their life last year, okay? And every day I was talking to them for an hour to 2 hours on the phone. And I couldn't say any of it online. I couldn't, you know? I mean, they wouldn't care that I shared this about it. But, like, I mean, the specifics of it, and I mean, I felt so horrible for it. You know? I mean, maybe that's what she's going through. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's somebody that's really close to her and she doesn't feel like she can share it. And she doesn't have to. But she can also let her audience know that she's taking care of herself. And I think that that's important, okay? And taking care of yourself is not getting $40 worth of McDonald's and sitting in bed, okay? And then she even gets pissed off because people are like, well, you set up the ring light and you say you're not filming content, but you're literally filming content of you talking about how bad you're doing while you're eating food in bed. And she's like, what are you talking about? Setting up, I'm like, well, you did set up a ring light. You are sitting in bed and you are filming content. They're not lying, okay? And that's the problem, is that her past behaviors are haunting her now, okay? But this is a completely different situation, and I think this is why she's getting so pissed about it. Because she doesn't really know how to deal with this situation, because now some real shit's happened. But she's been the girl that's cried wolf for so long, okay, with not addressing things. She's been the unbothered queen and all this kind of stuff. You're an unbothered queen calling out a drama channel that's getting 5,000 views a video talking about you, girl? Seriously? I mean, that doesn't seem that unbothered to me. An unbothered queen would never address it at all. An unbothered, if you were truly an unbothered queen, you would never address it at all. And I will say this, okay? Whatever Michaela is going through right now, because I think that there's this perception that online figures aren't human beings, okay? And I've been very cognizant of that for a very long time. Whatever you're going through, Michaela, I feel for you, okay? On whatever level it is, I feel for you as a human being, okay? And I hope that you work through whatever you're working through. And you only have to share as much as you feel comfortable sharing on. I just talked about this in my Laura Lee video the other day, okay? Laura Lee came out. People were asking her about her cat, Peach, and she said my cat, Peach, passed away in 2021. I was like, her cat passed away 3 years ago. She's just talking about it now. I lived for that moment. I lived that she did not feel like she needed to come out and address it until she was ready to. You don't have to come out. Just because I overshare a ton of shit online doesn't mean anybody else has to, okay? Because people will say, when I do this video, people will say, oh, Peter thinks he's sanctimonious. Peter thinks that he's a gatekeeper and all this bullshit. No, just because I overshare, I don't know how not to overshare, okay? Just because I overshare doesn't mean anybody has to. I lived for the fact that Laura Lee didn't feel like she needed to come out and address that until she was ready to, okay? I loved that about her. She doesn't, Michaela, you do not have to address anything until you're ready to. But you also don't have to let your audience worry about you. And those are two completely different things. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. My friend never texted me back why she stopped following Michaela. That might be another video down the road. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.